What's up, disc golfers? Joe here with Joe's Disc Golf, and I've got a couple things to talk about here. I don't know, there was just a world championship that happened. A new world championship. I mean, I'm glad to see that we have a new world champion, better than that regular world champion, or even that old world champion. But that's not all we're talking about here. We're talking about Kristin Tattar, and she had surgery. Yeah, she did. And we got to talk about Nikko again, because why not? He's a relevant topic, and things could get pretty interesting, but who knows? Before we get too far, though, I got to get into it with our sponsor. And our sponsor is Log. What rolls downstairs a loner in pairs rolls over your neighbor's dog? What's great for a snack and it fits on your back? It's Log. It's big, it's heavy, it's wood. It's better than bad. It's good. Everyone wants a log. You're going to love it, Log. Come on and get your log. Log from Blammo. Now, we got our sponsor. We're paying our bills here. Paying our bills, because that's what we do here around at Joe's Disc Golf and at, our sister broadcast, the Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast, which you can catch them published every Tuesday at Half in the Bag, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're listening to this one, I mean, you already know about Joe's Disc Golf Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Or, hey, there is a YouTube channel as well. And if you're over there, don't forget to subscribe. And if you're over on YouTube, guess what? You could take me on the go. And whenever you're on the go, you could listen to a podcast. Take that as you will. I'm going to drink some tea. I just burned my tongue. Did not mean to quote Anchorman right there, but that is how it goes sometimes. Real life gets in the way of your movie quotes, or accidentally quotes your movies. I'm not sure how that one goes. Anyway, as you may have heard, last week I was sick, still powered through. Took me 3 tries. Don't try to record a podcast while you're sick. This, so far, is attempt number 1. But how would you know? I don't go live anymore. I used to go live, try to stream this podcast live, but now that I am a dad and I love my daughter, but because of my daughter, live streaming just is not in the cards, man, because it just is not. I love her to death, but anyone who is a parent understands that you don't get a lot of free time, or you don't get a lot of uninterrupted time. And shockingly, you need a fair bit of interruption-free time to be able to record a podcast, let alone edit it. And that's not even, I mean, I know, you make fun of my edits all you want. They're not great. I'll admit that. I'm not a video editor. I'm a sports medicine guy. And on YouTube, I pretend to be a journalist. Yes, I am. What up? Journalism right here, trying to do it just for you guys. So we're going to jump into that journalistic topic that everybody loves, and that is business ethics. No, I'm kidding. We're going to talk about Nikko, because the last time I talked about Nikko, people said I was trying to cancel him, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I apologize if you take it that way, but that's on you. I'm just reporting on the events that have happened, and so far what has happened is Nikko signed that multi-year deal, which apparently has been in the works for quite a while. It sounds like he was, according to, I believe it was the guys on Foundation, somebody had sent them a screenshot of Nikko talking to a vendor way earlier, a couple months ago, hucking, plastic for Lone Star. It sounds like he stopped off at the Open at Belton, stopped at their booth, liked their plastic, and talked about a potential sponsorship deal. That's kind of how it all seems. The stove is still hot. But thirsty, and I'm trying not to cough everywhere. So it sounds like that Lone Star deal has been in the works for quite a while. Now, yes, Clash did benefit immensely from having Nikko. And I think Lone Star can also benefit immensely from this, because Lone Star is an up-and-coming product here. About a year ago, someone had kind of turned me on to them, said that I would like some of their stuff, said that, I would like their penny putter. I think it's not beaded, so I automatically hate it. That's just a given. If your putter isn't beaded, what are you doing? That's just a terrible life choice. That's just, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing with your life. But it sounds like they have some really good plastic. They make some discs for other manufacturers. They got their start as injection molding in general, not even with disc golf. Just that's what they did. That's what their business was injection molding. They got into disc golf. They produce for hooligan discs. And, they make the discs like the Yeet and the Dab and the ZDAF and the Millennial and the Tweep. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with current day pop culture slang, and I got nothing. I work with high schoolers, and sometimes I'm like, those are sounds coming out of your mouth. Are you having a stroke? I know you're 16, but it's not impossible for you to have a stroke. Okay, you're not having a stroke, I think. I don't know. You can go back out and play football. It'll be fine. Another hit to the head might knock some sense into you. Worked out fine in Miami. Yikes. But Nico's doing that. He went on the Nick and Matt show, and unfortunately, I've only been able to listen to a small portion of it. But when they did ask him about his incident, we'll say, at the European Open, he was dodging, dipping, ducking, diving, weaving, dodging, basically the 5 Ds and a W of dodgeball. And I can't hardly blame him. He's saying that he wants people to believe that he is a changed man, that he has gone through all this. And listening to it, because I only listened to the podcast, I listened to part of it on my way to work. Unfortunately, other things came up on the way home, and I could not listen to the other half of it. But he sounded sincere. And as I said way back in August, I think it was, I hope that that what happened at the European Open, the consequences that came through because of it, were all his rock bottom. Because sometimes you just need to hit rock bottom in order to grow as a person. And the way he has talked about this, and it has been a relatively quick turnaround, and it's easy to pay lip service when you're doing an interview or when you're just out meeting random fans or just seeing random people on a course or even talking to a potential sponsor. It's easy to say the right things. What I'm going to be curious is if he means these things. And the rubber's going to be put to the road when the rubber meets the road here at Las Vegas in Sin City. Not that movie, the actual town, Las Vegas. It'll be interesting to see if things get tough. And I think, for Las Vegas, he'll be able to hold it together. That's the first tournament. He knows there's going to be a magnifying glass the size of the Bellagio on him the entire time. So he knows it's going to be what happens at Waco, at Open at Houston, whatever, Texas States. What's going to happen at the next couple tournaments after? Is he going to be able to keep his composure? Is he going to be able to keep this through? And that will be the real test to see if Nikko truly has changed. And I really hope, like I said the last time, and like I just said, I really hope that this is his rock bottom, and I hope that he has changed and he has seen this, because he talks about how he wants people to see him for the guy he is off the course, which he puts on all these camps and all these services and helps people learn disc golf and puts on these clinics. That's the word I was thinking of. Thank you, Mr. Producer. You're welcome. But we see him only on course, on coverage, because, yeah, he could post on social media that he ran 17 clinics for underserved children all across the country, and that's great. That's fantastic. But that's not what we see. And, maybe, live idea, I start posting things of people who are helping out around their local course. Start like a community awareness segment or something like that, where it's like, you guys send me in a quick little blurb about a tournament director, a local guy or gal at your home course that just, he's always out there. She's always out there just cleaning up trash, picking up sticks, making sure the greens look nice. First one, whenever there's a work day, first one there, last one to leave, that kind of person. I want to try to shout someone out. So if you have anyone in mind, send them to me, contact@joesdiscgolf.com. You can also find the information at joesdiscgolf.com, where there is plenty of articles there, plenty of things you can read, along with our power rankings and all that other stuff. But enough of that shameless plugging. That's something I think I want to do and highlight. That is definitely something that I've thought up right now. So if it doesn't sound fleshed out, that's because it just got flushed out of my brain. So if you guys can think of anything, or you could tweet at me at Joe's Disc Golf, or Instagram, Facebook, Reddit. The Reddit thread is completely dead, but that's okay. You can also go ahead and check me out. There's a Discord server. There's a link in the description below, so go ahead and do that. You can go ahead and check that out. And let me know who I should do. Maybe this will be, depending on the response, maybe this will be a monthly thing. Maybe this will be a weekly thing. Maybe it'll become its own thing. I don't know. But let me know. You can leave a comment down below, too. So I hope, as I've said and harped on this multiple times now, I hope he's changed. I know nothing about Lone Star Discs. I thought it was interesting. Their taglines are about being family and warm and welcoming. And that's not the perception that Nikko has. But hopefully it works out well for them. I would bet a lot of money that Lone Star has it in there. Like, here's the deal. Here is, if this happens, we're cutting ties. This is it. Or here, if this happens, then these are your repercussions from us. If this happens, then it's this. And if it's this, bye. See ya. And I would, at least for both parties, it would be a good idea for them to have laid that all out for everybody. And just so there's no gray area. There's no like, well, you said that we didn't, but then we and you did, and him and Han and haha, hoo hee hee, ha ha ha, and I thought my jokes were bad, but that would be a good thing there. And I think this is going to be a pretty big bump. Clash saw a huge bump. Yes, they had to go back and rework a whole bunch of their commercials that had Nikko in them. But at the same time, there are a lot more people that know about Clash now. And I knew nothing about Clash before he signed that contract. I try to stay up on the manufacturers, but they're getting to be so many right now. I believe this year alone, the PDGA has approved 197 or so discs as of today, November 17th, 2022. And I think it was the Xeon by Loft Discs or Lift Discs or whatever. The crazy, I got the hydrogen putter right here. Whoop, right there. I got the hydrogen. I've got the borium. I don't have the silicone. And I'm gonna collect the whole periodic table. They can't run out of discs because it's the periodic table, and you could just start making up things because that's kind of what the periodic table does. Now, I want to see them come up with like germanium and americanium or einsteinium, nobelium. There's a great song that sings all of those together by Tom Lehrer. Really funny if you're into that nerdy kind of thing. But we're going to segue to our next topic. And this next topic is brought to you by discgolfhealthy.com, where you can get a whole bunch of information on how to be healthier as a disc golfer. I, for one, am the proprietor of this website because I clearly have nothing better to do with my time than go to work, be a dad, run Joe's Disc Golf, help run Half in the Bag, and run discgolfhealthy.com because, that. But working on getting back into shape, I'm down 6 pounds. Go me, this Disc Golf Healthy break here. Just getting better about not eating sugar. My tea is just herbal tea. It's herbal. And it is quite delicious. Trying to be healthier, as I said, working on overall body strength, fitness, and flexibility. And my flexibility is about that of a soaking wet 2x4, which is better than it's been because it used to be like a 2x4. And now I can almost touch my toes. Go me. But this real next segment is brought to you by Disc Golf Healthy. And that is, without further ado, we're going to talk about Kristin Tattar and her appointment with the surgeon. Now, she announced today, November 17th, that she was going to have surgery on her elbow. And this is her throwing arm. Now, I have an article coming out, and this is all speculation. I have not had any contact with Kristin Tattar. I don't know anything else that you guys cannot find readily available on the internet through interviews and all that stuff. And watching her and all that. Yes, she did wear an elbow sleeve. However, I think that was more of a mental thing than anything else. I believe that what she is having done has more to do with her ulnar nerve, which is if you've ever hit your funny bone and it zings all down your arm into your pinky and ring finger, that is your ulnar nerve distribution. Congratulations on figuring out anatomy. Good job. Now, the ulnar nerve runs in your elbow, and if you kind of hold your elbow up, and just like there's the bump where my elbow sticks out, just kind of towards your armpit and a little bit in, you can feel kind of like this little groove. If you tap on it, it's going to send zings down to your finger. That's where your ulnar nerve lives. It's in the ulnar groove. I know, anatomy people are so creative with their titles. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. If you don't know Greek or Latin, ulnar is German for a whale. I can't even do that. I can't even say that. Go watch Anchorman. I almost said Iron Man. Wrong movie. So the ulnar nerve lives there. It seems, by all indications, that Kristin Tattar had an ulnar nerve issue. I believe ulnar nerve, or it's ulnar neuritis. Neuritis. It's late, and I am trying my hardest to stay with it here, which that's just fancy words for saying like your ulnar nerve is inflamed. It's swollen. I know. Anybody who knows anything about anatomy, you're listening to this going, dear God, that's awful. I know. Now you're just like the engineers when I tried to talk physics. But I actually know anatomy. I'm trying to simplify this because we could go in and I could give you a 45-minute lecture on the ulnar nerve and swelling and all that stuff. But you're not here for the Joe's Anatomy podcast. You're here. That's probably a terrible name. Wow. The words just, there's no filter sometimes between the brain and the mouth. This is the Joe's Disc Golf podcast. Now, here's why I think that. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's her UCL. She's going to have Tommy John surgery. If she had a UCL injury, she would have had surgery months ago. She would not have been able to play through the pain. She would not have been able to play through it because that is a tear in your elbow that kind of, as you're coming through on that forehand, as you're coming through, it helps hold things together. It helps it helps keep your elbow together so your wrist doesn't fall behind. That's probably the best way to say it. Now, if she had an issue with that, she would have not been able to play through it. She would have not been able to throw backhands, or not backhands. She would not have been able to throw forehands. So I don't think that was it, because while she didn't throw too many, she still threw them, and she still threw some pretty decently high-powered ones when she had to. Now, so that's out. That's Tommy John surgery. That's out. That's what you hear a lot of baseball players, that ruins their career. That's over. That's done with. The next thing you could think of is maybe it's medial or lateral epicondylitis. So either golfer's elbow, little leaguer's elbow, or tennis elbow. So those are common injuries, obviously, for little league, tennis, and golf. Probably not those, just given the what she was able to do with some of her other throws and all of that. Very common. You'll see a lot of people who have those injuries have a strap across their forearm, probably 3 inches down from their elbow, give or take. So it is just distal, farther away from your elbow. Proximal, closer than your wrist. There you go. There's your anatomy terminology right there. Look at that. You're learning so much in this podcast, and you had no idea this was going to turn into an anatomy podcast. Sorry, there are no visual aids. So it could have been one of those, although I highly doubt it. Medial epicondylitis would be the most likely, given that she talked about all this pain on the inside of her elbow. Medial means middle, and as you stand in anatomical position, that would be if you're standing straight up, your palms would be facing out. So that's the inside of your elbow where your ulna and ulnar nerve live. Why I think it's that is because of some of the things she said. She said, one, the doctors told her she could play with it and she's not going to make it any worse. Okay. 2, she said, or someone else had mentioned on another podcast, that she basically plays every single day because if she takes a day off, the pain would be worse. Now, in a situation like that, if you take some time off and then try to jump back into it, that nerve is going to be absolutely pissed off. And that is a medical term right there. It means angry. And what can happen in that situation is the nerve kind of gets stuck, I would say, is the best way to say that. It gets stuck. It gets an adhesion and it doesn't move correctly. And then when you try to throw, the nerve gets stretched. And when a nerve gets stretched, ouchies happen. Nerves absolutely do not like to be stretched. So there are some exercises I bet that she was doing. They're called nerve glides. There are other exercises you could do, but the most common one is, you make the okay sign, and then just as a little kid, you flip it upside down and put it on your eye, and look, I've got glasses. Look at me, I got glasses on, and not just my real glasses, I've got my finger glasses, because I'm super cool. So doing that multiple times a day will help keep that nerve loose and moving, essentially, and try to keep from those adhesions from really building up. Now, that still can happen. And I don't know anything about the Estonian healthcare system or the European healthcare system at all. I know here that in the U.S., the insurance companies want you to do physical therapy for a couple weeks before you have surgery. And that's for a couple different reasons. One, the rehab could be the cure to the problem, considering she was playing on it. It's been weeks since she's been back. I would assume that she was doing physical therapy. And the other thing is, whenever you go into surgery for orthopedics, the stronger you are going into it, the better your outcomes are coming out of it. So most likely, Kristin Tattar was also doing physical therapy and trying to get her arm as strong as it can be before she goes in for surgery. And there's 2 different types of surgeries that she would likely have. One of them is called an ulnar nerve anterior transposition. So basically, they take your ulnar nerve and they just shift it forward. They shift it kind of into your forearm there. And then you don't have to worry about it getting stuck. The other option is a medial epicondylectomy. Yep, Yep, those are words. That means they just take a small chunk of the bone out. The nerve can move a little more freely, and no problems there. So, yeah, who knows what she got? I have no idea. Recovery time for that is 2 to 3 months. Obviously, that varies wildly from surgeon to surgeon. Now, all these surgeons go to school for far longer than I ever have. They have far more education than I have. They have far more practical experience than I have, and they make far more money than I do, so it is far above my pay grade. But a surgery like this, on average, a couple months and you're back. Honestly, she could take off until April when Champions Cup happens and hopefully reclaim the title that she gave to Paige Pierce, because she should have totally won that. But hey, can't say I haven't choked anything away myself. Twice at the same tournament, at the same course, on the same holes. But hey, who's talking? So yeah, Kristin Tattar had surgery. At the time of recording, we know nothing. She has not posted to Instagram. She's not said anything. So hopefully everything went well. I can't imagine it wouldn't. It is, as far as surgeries go, relatively simple. Obviously, there's always a chance of anything going wrong, blah, 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 blah. Ta-da! Time to get into the final topic. That is the new World Championship rather than the old World Championship. Yes, this happened at the New World course in Florida, and it was the second weakest field of the year. Beat out, just barely, the Lake Marshall Open. And that is because Paul McBeth showed up to this one. I'm not even joking about that. The upper end of the talent pool was roughly the same in terms of ratings from Lake Marshall to New World, but Paul McBeth was at New World. What I saw someone ask online, I would like to see the strength of field for Big Germ's wedding, because that was probably a hell of a showing there. And congratulations to Big Germ and Mrs. Big Germ. I don't know his wife's name, former fiance, whatever. I don't know her name, and I apologize to that, but congratulations, mazel tov to the married couple. Yay! Woo! Yay! But that caused a lot of people to not be at the New World Championship, and the fact that there's nothing else around, a lot of people didn't show up. Most of the pros that showed up lived in the area. Some of the people who drove in from further away or showed up from further away, like Brody Smith, had family in the area. And so he was able to see his mom and hang out there, as he said. He also said that he did not play very well and managed to get 8th. And it just, the field strength, I mean, it showed. Paul was able to take it down pretty easily, and congratulations on the Silver Series win. That's a new Silver Series win for you at the new World Championship. He's also the old World Championship and the current World Champion. So there you go. He's got them all. He's got it. He is the Ash Ketchum of World Championships. He's just got to catch them all. And he did. He did a very good job. I applaud him. A tip of the cap to you, good sir. Nothing too crazy there. I thought it might have get canceled because of the weather that was coming through, but that clearly did not happen. That ended up swinging away and not really affecting the course as much. It also sounds like the tournament staff there were working through the inclement weather to keep the course in tip-top shape. And yeah, that was pretty good. It looked pretty good on coverage. They went live every single day, which I thought was a little bit weird because I didn't know Silver Events. I said it right. Don't come after me, Mr. Spring. I don't know. It looked good. I'm just curious. I don't think this is going to be a huge trend going forward, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes. They're hiring. PDGA also put out an article of, please still give us money. This is why we need to exist. I believe it was the structure of the PDGA, because it seems like a lot of people are coming after them because of their stances or lack thereof, and rightfully so. If I'm giving you my money, I want to know where my money's going, and I want to know that you are doing your best to represent my interest the best that you can. And I get it, that I'm not going to agree with everything, but you probably should listen to your vocal paying supporters. And I know I'm not the only one there. So, yeah, that's about that. Unfortunately, still haven't quite kicked the sore throat. So, doing my best to power through this. I don't think I can keep going. You have to leave me behind. Stick to the code. Sorry, I watched the Pirates of the Caribbean. I'll stick to the code. Thank you all for watching. I know, kind of an all over the place. Felt like a really good episode. Let me know what you think. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, at Joe's Disc Golf. You can find me at joesdiscgolf.com. We have power rankings. Those won't be touched until Las Vegas. Those will be carried over from some previous rounds, this year. Otherwise, the power rankings will be basically who just won. Power rankings will be the order of who just won on MPO and FPO. So, carrying some of that math over, we'll see how that goes. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments, tweet at me. If you've got someone you'd like to have me shout out who's an awesome tournament director, and I will, real names, not like the former Twitter engineers Ligma and Johnson. So, A+ to those guys for trolling. A+. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you get a great tree kick, don't forget to thank Treesus. And if you get kicked deeper into the woods, well, you have transgressed against Treesus, and you need to repent and reflect. Also, there's new merch at joesdiscgolf.com because I totally forgot about that. And, as always, I've been Joe, you've been awesome, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.